You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
And welcome to the program. I am joined now by Justice Rhonda Wood. She's on the Arkansas Supreme Court. Good to see you.
Hey, good morning.
And she is a candidate for the Arkansas Supreme Court Chief Justice in 2024, which was the pretense for me inviting you to be on the show here to talk about that. But in between, we have had a tragedy on the court. Justice Robin Wynne passed away this past week. You worked with him. Tell me a little bit about what Justice Wynne meant to you and just what it's like working with him.
Yeah, so Justice Wynne, lovely, lovely man. I worked with him for 10.5 years because we served 2 years on the Court of Appeals together. We came on the Supreme Court together. Just a delight, a pleasure. We both, so we would say hi RW to each other because it was Robin Wynne, Rhonda Wood. People got our names confused. Nobody could figure out who we were. We joked we were going to get T-shirts made, like Justice O'Connor and Ginsburg did, that said, you know, I'm not Robin Wynne. He was going to say, I'm not Rhonda Wood. But a man of deep faith. That's my solace, you know, and that I know that he was a man of deep faith, loved his family, always had his grandsons in his office or his dog. But avid reader. We exchanged books all the time, and just a lovely man. We would send each other Bible verses. Like I said, he's just a deep man of faith. But
yeah. He went to seminary school.
Yes,
I mean, people don't realize that he went to Perkins School of Theology.
But just a great overall guy.
Yeah.
And just he will be deeply missed at the court. I just can't imagine going back.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me. I know it's an emotional time
for
you
family.
on that, but and our thoughts and prayers and condolences are with his family too. So as that moves along, I always like to joke a little bit too. For some people that didn't know him, and they saw the first name Robin, they were like, oh, look at how many more women are on the Supreme Court. I'm like going, Robin's a guy,
yes.
Okay. Rhonda is a female though, so but that was always something that
yes.
I always had to do a little correction with some folks on. Let's talk about the court's been busy lately. You're busy all the time, actually,
right.
on the Supreme Court. But there's been one particularly high-profile case, and that involves the Learns Act. I think in a 5-2 decision, you guys reversed the temporary restraining order. You are prohibited from talking about that case. It's still open. I'm going to give you a chance to tell me why you cannot comment on that case. What's the judicial canon that kind of oversees that?
Sure. Well, and we just can't talk about live cases. And so the Learns Act is still live. The only thing we dealt with was a temporary restraining order. And so it is back live in front of the circuit judge, and he had hearings this week. And so, I assume the parties will continue to appeal that, and so it'll be back in front of us. And it's mainly that you do not want your judges or justices to be prejudging the case.
Right.
And so we do not talk about it, and we are prohibited from talking about the case and we let our opinions speak for themselves. And so we will decide the case when the parties tell us the argument and make their case to us, and then that's when we'll make a decision.
Safe to say you've done plenty of research already. You're probably going to get to do some more research once a ruling one way or the other comes your way.
I did. I had a group of students come visit the court, and so I did count up to them that we had, I believe, 858 pages filed that Tuesday morning that then we considered by Thursday.
Yeah.
And that was without reading the law on it. So we will have more.
Give me a little insight on how that process works. I mean, you've got clerks that work for you. They do some research, but then you got to do some on your own. And then when it comes time to write an opinion, kind of what goes into writing an opinion, or even just either agreeing, concurring, or dissenting on an opinion. How does that process work for you?
Well, I love to write, so I'm very, nerdy and former law professor, and so that's, my background. So I think it's just, the court votes and talks about the result, and then it's reasoning, and then we get to a majority, and then if we don't agree with the reasoning behind the result, then that's when we would write. And for me, I firmly believe, and that's part of the, priorities that I'm rolling out, is that our decisions have to be in plain English, where everyday people could pick up and say, I may or may not agree with Justice Wood, but I can read and understand why she made the decision she made. And so to me, that's how I write and what I write. for the people.
How often do you all meet to talk about those decisions, especially in that cool little conference room that y'all
It is
have?
pretty cool.
It's like secret, you know. I've gotten a tour before
Yes.
several years ago when Chief Justice
Yes.
Hanna was
Right.
over the court. He had me over and he said, "Have you ever seen this before?" And I was like, "Is it okay for me to go in there? It's just what I want to." I mean, I'm a reporter, you know. I might leave a bug or something. You never know. So, but is that where you guys meet to deliberate?
That is, and so it just depends on the cases and whenever there's a need. So, you know, we met that, you know, Thursday morning, and the Chief Justice calls a meeting, and so we go in and we meet as long as it takes to reach a resolution.
All right, you're running for Chief Justice. You've laid out a vision for what you want to do as Chief Justice. We may not be able to get through all of it in the few minutes that we have left here,
Right.
but I want to hit a few things. You want to make the court system more citizen-focused and business-friendly. How would you go about doing that?
I think it goes back to using technology the right way and making sure that people can easily access the court and have, you know, little things like technology, that they can go to a website, clearly understand this is the process. There's a lot of people don't go to court, you know, if they have a contractor issue or anything because they are intimidated by the court process. So just little things like having website templates for all the judges in different counties. People can say, I can go online, I can see this is the process, this is what we do. Improve the small claims forms where they can go online and file it, the text notifications. I'm the justice that's liaison to automation, so I've been working with our team on the rebuild of that so that people know when their court date is, they know if it gets continued, so they don't get that snowball effect of they miss one court date, then there's a warrant out, then there's fines, fees, then suddenly they don't have their driver's license, then they lose their job, then they lose their children, right?
Yeah, no, it's tough, yeah.
So just simple things to make it where the process is easier for the public.
You want to do some things on reducing domestic violence, human trafficking. You've done stuff on juvenile justice reform. Give me a little, elevator pitch on where you want to see some changes in the system.
So the key for me is I have used technology and worked with stakeholders to really make changes statewide with juvenile justice and even domestic violence. Domestic violence is really a key. Other states have started using web portals where a victim can go online instead of leaving and trying to get away from the abuser to go into like a prosecutor's or victim assistance to file that first complaint. They can actually go to a portal set up by the judiciary where they can go online, file that report, upload pictures. Everything goes immediately to the prosecutor and to a judge where they can get that first court date immediately without leaving their house. Get it approved and it's filed. And it's really pretty neat. Kansas does it, Arizona does it, Florida's in the process. And it'll have those flashers at the top. They can do it from their phone or a mobile device, and where if an abuser walks in the room while they're there, they click on that and immediately wipes any proof that they've even been there to give them that protection. But it's hard for them to leave the abuser to get in to even get that first step.
Yeah.
And so web portals are really the way to go there.
One of the other questions I want to ask you, we've got about a minute left here, is one of the things that you want to do is, work on the backlog that's in the system and I guess expedite justice in a more speedy fashion, but in a fair way. This is the complaint that I hear a lot. I mean, it can take a year to get something, to court. How do you clear up that backlog? How do you speed things up?
Well, it's getting stakeholders together, and I have a proven track record of doing that. I've accomplished that specifically. We have the ability under Amendment 80 to create magistrates to work with circuit judges, but our Supreme Court has yet to create a rule to allow that to happen. So it's getting everybody to the table and having magistrates similar to the federal court system to help alleviate some of that backlog. We have to completely toss and rewrite the speedy trial rule. But that's, again, getting public defenders, prosecutors, and judges to the table, and let's do that and work on that system. But I will tell you that I'm the only candidate that can say, I can roll out, here's the 10 times I've done this, and work with stakeholders and know how to make those things happen.
All right, she's Justice Rhonda Wood. She's running for Arkansas Supreme Court Chief Justice. Your rival is another Supreme Court Justice, Karen Baker. She has been invited to be on this program. We'll let you know when we have her scheduled. Justice Wood,
thank you so much, Roby.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Enjoyed it. All right, we're back with more after this.